Hi, everyone. I'm Michael Hoffman, CEO at Gather Voices, and I am just super excited to have Michael Tatonetti back with us for another edition of Sponsorship and Pricing Methods for Virtual Events. We did a 30-minute one of these, what was it, a couple weeks ago?
Yep.
And the video of that is actually on the Gather Voices website. I'm sure there are things that are in there that will not be in here, so you should definitely check that out. I think we'll put a link in the chat to that discussion. So just by way of introduction, my name is Michael Hoffman. Gather Voices is a software company that makes it easy to collect and create video from anyone, anywhere in the world. And we're working with associations to create more member engagement, to help with virtual events as well as continuing education. If you haven't seen what Gather Voices looks like, highly recommend taking a short demo. You will not be disappointed. And even if it's not something that's something that you need or will use, you will know a dozen people that you want to call and tell about it. So that's me. Michael is, I think, a really unique guest for this moment in the world, right? Which is when everything's going virtual. Michael, you're both a CAE, a certified association executive, working on virtual events, like many of the people who are here with us today. But you're also a certified pricing professional. And so you come at it with thoughts around both attendee pricing and sponsorship pricing from a professional perspective. Like, how do we, it's a discipline. It's not just like, let's, pick a number. It's something that people study on the best way to do those things. And you know about that as well. So, and I think that's why we have so many people here today, to get that combination. So Michael, will you tell us a little about your work, your day job, some of the other things that you're doing, and thanks for being here.
Yeah. First, thanks for having me again. It's great to be back in with the Gather Voices team. So I professionally, I work for Professional Pricing Society. I'm over certification, education, and strategy as well for the organization. And then in addition to that, I'm a CAE, a CPP, and so I'm very involved with ASAE, GSAE down here in Georgia, and do quite a bit of speaking and publishing around value, pricing, all of that good stuff in marketing for associations. So very glad to share today some more in-depth knowledge, and specifically based off of questions that we got from the last session and also new questions for this one. So I'm really excited to dive in.
So, pricing strategy is obviously really critical. So I want to actually kick us off, Michael, with a question that we have from somebody.
Hi. With so much online and being free, so many events being free, are you finding it's harder to charge a price for your content? And if you do charge a price for the content, are you finding a higher attendance to those events? Thank you.
All right. So let's jump into that, Michael. There is so much free stuff. I mean, name a topic and you can go find things. And I think what's buried in this question a little bit is, why do we go to events in the first place? It's not necessarily just about information, right?
Right. And I think that that's a broader question that I think we sort of already answer as an industry, which is, why would anyone even pay for membership or certifications? Because it is mostly knowledge-based. And I think, the way that we typically answer that, removing it just from virtual, is that we're sourcing the best information. It's industry best practices, so that it's good knowledge, it's current thought leadership from practitioners. So I think we have to take that mentality into this. However, she is right in that you can't just pose the same thing. You have to speak to the value differentiators. So some of the things that I've seen that have worked well include offering maybe credits towards either a certification or a renewal of a certification, maybe offering some kind of a micro credential around the training program. So even if it isn't a full out certification, but it's some kind of a certificate, which is different, that just shows knowledge of best practices within an area for the industry. So that's one way. But I think really speaking to sourcing the content, the fact that it's going to be the best content, then moving beyond that, as you're bringing up, Michael, which is you're coming for networking. Is there opportunity to network in a virtual setting? That's where you have to be able to answer how you're doing that. But offering more above and beyond, offering networking, roundtable discussions. You can use breakouts within Zoom or whatever platform you're using to allow people to facilitate different conversations. So to me, you have to be able to bring all of that in. But in general, yes, you can charge. Just because there's free content doesn't mean that you don't charge, but you have to be able to value sell what it is that you're providing.
Right. And so value sell is saying, here's what you're really going to get out of this, and here's why you should care, and here's what it's going to do for you, not more transactional of like, here's some pieces of content that you could find elsewhere. I think there was part of that question was also, could you get more people coming because you're charging? So the sense that people value things that have a price on them more than they do the free things.
Yeah, and that's true. We've seen variances in our own association with that. Some things are definitely more highly attended. Some are lower for paid and unpaid. It's kind of, we've seen a good variance. I think what it comes down to is our marketing calendar. And again, selling the value through marketing, hitting on the pain points and saying, here's what you're going to get. Here's not only the transformation of what you might learn to do differently, but what else are you getting? Right now, people are craving, within our profession, they're craving knowledge around how do we navigate COVID specific to our industry. So giving them that. They're craving community. We're tired of watching someone on Zoom, right? And that's it all day. They want variance, which is why doing sessions, but then breaking it up and having other opportunities. All of that matters, and all of that needs to be communicated well within why you're pricing and what are they getting from it. I think I might have shared this last time, but one thing that we did very differently for our upcoming fall conference was we added some additional credits. We extended how many hours of learning they're getting, and then we assigned some credits for certification to things that they wouldn't normally get, but we did it in a way that's very valid, that our board approved of, and that keeps the credibility of the program. But in doing that, someone can basically earn their credits over the course, for the most part, over the course of the week. And so it's kind of a, come on, if you've been thinking about this professional development, you're at home, you might have a little bit more flexibility to do some online training, come get it, come add another skill to your tool belt. So doing that, rather than just saying, come to conference, come learn, come sit in Zoom all day. What am I going to learn? I also think of ASAE next week. I'm going, but I'm going because I want to hear what are other people doing right now across, not just pricing, but marketing communications and sponsorship and membership and education. And I want to hear everything. What are we doing? So to me, that's where the value is keeping it very current and curating the best content, which you don't always get when you Google. You can find good stuff, but you find everything. So not everything is good, and communicating that and giving that great content, to me, that matters a lot.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. So we have another question. Let's go to our second question, which is also about pricing in terms of attendees.
My name is Jeff Peters. I'm with the Moore Group, and my question is, if you begin a series of webinars or seminars with a zero price point, is it very difficult to convert the audience to a higher price point later?
I think that's a really good question that a lot of folks are facing, right? It's like COVID special or something, but we don't want to lock ourselves in. how are you thinking about that?
Yeah. So to me, that comes down to positioning. So what I would tell Jeff is if you're communicating that it's the same thing that's always been free and now you want to charge to bring in some revenue, you have to figure out how are you changing it up a bit and adding value, changing it through value that your people want, and then communicating that value to justify the price that you're charging. So you can't, one way that we did that, we hold free virtual summits. Those are free. There's, 5 to 10 speakers. It's over 1 or 2 days, more TED Talk style. Now for our conference, we made sure not to call our virtual conference a virtual summit because our attendees are used to hearing free virtual summit. So we called it a virtual conference. We've also toyed with the idea of charging for webinars. We don't. Most associations do. Some do, some don't. But we've toyed with that as like micro learning and giving a partial credit towards maybe continuing education that's needed. I think the big thing is almost you kind of have to rename in a way. You have to be able to state what's different. So is there a credit attached? Is there a certificate that they get at the end? And then you also have to look at the content. A lot of times webinars can be sales pitches. And if it's just kind of a, hey, look at us as consultants or software providers or whatever it is, we're great, here's what we do, that there's nothing wrong with that, but that may not be something that you charge for. So if that's what your partners are used to, then you need to make sure that they're actually training in something relevant that people are willing to pay for, and communicate that. So the quick answer would be there has to be a pivot